somebody has to do it. Even to do something simple as this, you're going to need the help of other people. If you need to build a business, you're going to need a lot of different people to help you.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that will reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Today we get to speak with Alex Moses. He's a serial entrepreneur and one of the most esteemed and sought-after human behaviorists in the world. At age 29, Alex sold his first business for 9 figures. Since then, he has helped launch numerous startups, as well as consulted for many of the world's most successful millionaires and billionaires, including my favorite, Steve Jobs. He has 34 years of experience scaling multiple companies to 8 figures and beyond. Today, Alex is focusing on revolutionizing postgraduate education. He lives in Arizona with his wife Roxy and his 2 basset hounds, Melvin and Winthrop, who, by the way, have their own Instagram page with over 59,000 followers. In his free time, he indulges himself with his favorite TV show, Lie to Me and Perception. This is going to be an awesome conversation. Let's jump right in. Alex, thank you so much for coming on to be a guest on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So share with us where you're coming from, how you got started. Basically, give us a little lowdown on who Alex Moses is and what keeps you going.
I do not even know myself who Alex Moses is. Still trying to discover for the last 50 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Ukraine and I lived in, I don't know, more countries that I can think of. I know it was Russia, Austria, Italy, France, Germany, Holland. I'm sure I missed a few countries. And I ended up in USA, just pretty much chasing the dream. Always wanted to be in the US, to live in the USA. I came here, went to school for a very long time, mostly learning psychology and business. And I don't know, what else would you like to know?
Psychology and business, you've been in more countries that you can remember, which is kind of really amazing because when you visit different countries, you get to see more than what your culture shows you. You become a lot more open-minded. And I think your journey, and based on some of the conversations that I have, you are much more open-minded than a lot of people that I've met over the past couple years interviewing people on the podcast.
Thank you. One of my rules is being open to everything. I have like 6 rules that I live by, and one of them is be open to everything, attached to nothing. So I don't believe that I know anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever I know is probably a fraction of there's out there of information, probably even less. So I'm trying to help people using my natural talents is not necessarily something that I've learned, because that's what I think everybody's value in. something that you were born with, that you have a talent, and that's what makes you unique from anybody else on the planet. The
Yeah.
information you learn is doesn't have that much value in most cases. Your experiences does, but information, you can Google it, any information in the
Yeah.
world for free.
There's the old adage where the older you get, the less you know
Yeah.
of things around you, because younger kids, like my kids, right? They're 12 and 8. They're like, "Oh, we know everything, but you just ask us, what do you want to know? We know everything."
I believe they do. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Because as a spiritual person, and I always tell everybody I work with the family, I was like, you talk, have a conversation with your kids. That will blow your mind. They're born with a lot of information that we don't even realize.
Yeah, it's the unlearning that we do over time as we grow and stop. Like, oh, don't go there, don't experiment with this, don't do this. Like we're telling our kids, we're literally telling our kids every single day, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And guess what? They stop being curious. We stop being curious as we grow older.
Right. But that's psychology. If we go a little bit in psychology, since I studied it only like for 30 years or 40 years or so,
Yeah.
it's we hear from our parents no 70 times more than yes. That's why the society is so negative, because that's how we conditioned since the day we were born.
Yeah.
We hear 70 times no to a single yes. We don't even realize how the percentage, how crazy that number is.
I can attest to that. Having 4 kids in the house, and they're asking me, can we watch TV? Can we go play outside? Can we go build a set? Can we do this? Can we do this? And the answer is always no. So they, kids are so resilient, right? They're a lot more persistent than we are as adults. And
Yeah,
you're right. They know a lot more. They're more persistent. And if there was a way for us to go back to that mind state, I think that would be something else.
that's what I help people to do when I work with it. It's literally to not learn stuff, but unlearn and go to basics. It's who you really are. What are your identities, what your personality is, not actually what you learn, because what you learn is not as valuable as
Yeah.
who you are. Because once you understand who you are, you can find a place for yourself in the world, and then you can hire people who know things you don't know or have the skills that you don't have. This can always be acquired. The most important thing is to understand yourself. Nothing changed in the last 2,300 years since the Socrates said, right? Know thyself. I think we're
Know
still
thyself.
going the wrong way, learning everything else besides learning ourselves.
So, how did you learn about yourself, or, you know, as you've experienced the past few decades, how, walk us through, or, share with us some of the learnings that
I believe
you've
there's only
achieved
one way to learn anything on this planet is through pain and suffering.
through pain and suffering.
So, because I was fortunate enough to have a lot of drama in my life, I was like blind at the age of 9. I burned both of my eyes, so I had to have 3 surgeries. At
Wow.
the age of 14, I had tuberculosis. So I was asking God to kill me. I didn't want to be in so much pain for so long. And I had 2 strokes. I was fully paralyzed. So all the things that slows me down give me an opportunity to research myself deeper. Why am I in that position? What got me into it? Why am I struggling? It's part of my book as well. It's actually my
Right.
story
I was
about
just
my
gonna
first
mention that
stroke.
you've got a book out called Become a Top 2% Earner just by changing your brain chemistry. This is a
Right.
really enticing title. I mean, how does anybody even change their brain chemistry?
Through neuroplasticity. I do not go in details. I don't want to
Yes, yes, of
bore
course.
people. But the way we create the new neurons in our head and the way we learn stuff is through a specific process. I don't know if you got to the book in the book yet, It's actually described in a book. I put in this book in a simple way to understand. It's a pretty small book. There's a reason why it's small. So it's not going to be overwhelmed with the information that nobody needs. It's
Yeah.
all simplified in the basic case studies. So people can see examples of what I've done and how I did it and a different angle, the way I did that nobody does. And it's just my talent. I cannot teach anybody how to do those things.
Right.
But it can give you an opportunity to see the world from a different perspective. And when you do that, your actually brain chemistry changes. So every time you experience something different, you're changing your brain chemistry, you're creating a new connection in your brain cells.
No,
So if you use,
I love brain talk, absolutely. In fact, one of the conversations that I listened to was this brain scientist that came on that came on as a guest on this show that I used to listen to, the Ron Burgundy podcast show, and they talk about brain plasticity, how the brain works, our memory, and how there's 1,400 new brain cells being born every single day. And if you don't put them to work, they're essentially going to go die.
that's the reason I always work. But it's part of my identity is designed to be challenged. It's also my personality, which is a challenger. The name for type A personality is a challenger. So people are asking me why I keep doing what I'm doing. Obviously, don't need any more money. But I don't understand. If I stop doing it, I'll get depressed. I have nothing else in my life that will challenge me. So why Warren Buffett still working? He's like almost 90 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if he won't, he'll die. It's literally the end. So the work that what keeps us moving forward and the challenges makes us looking forward to tomorrow. If we're not challenged, the life becomes very dull and boring, and there's no point to live in my world.
Yeah.
There's no reason, if you're not looking forward to tomorrow, what is the point to wake up in the morning?
There's no point. Yeah, exactly. I really struck a chord with depression and not doing anything. Right? When you don't do anything, you're not engaging your mind. Yes, you're going to feel this depressed. And a lot of people are finding ways to curb that depression by either watching a ton of TV, but that can only go so far because you will run out of things there as well. So how would you go about? So you keep working. How does somebody step into that space to have that open-mindedness?
It depends on people's personality. Like you said, watching TV, it might not be bad for somebody watching TV. I'm not a musician. I wish I would have been a musician. Then I would just play music. And that would be challenging enough for me to get to the next level or learn a new instrument.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that, but unfortunately, I don't have a talent. The only talent I have is solving business problems, because it took me a very long time to figure out what I'm actually good at. Because I wanted to try a million different things, and I had a million different projects. But the thing that I'm talented, something that's been given to me, and something I've been doing since I was, as long as I remember myself, is the creating businesses and solving business problems. And everybody have their own talents. It doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be work. It might be family. You might be a great family person, or you might be a good person at your church, and or some kind of donate your time to some activities, help some kind of nonprofit organization. There's a million things you can do, but as long as you challenge yourself in whatever your talent is or whatever makes you happy, because that's pretty much the goal of life, is to be happy. Right? That what makes me happy. This challenge is what makes me happy. But the only challenge I'm good at is the business. I've been looking for a lot of different ones. It just, none of them keep me interested. I cannot watch sports. I'm not entertained by sports at all.
That's not my forte either, sports.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do. How many times you can watch your favorite shows?
Yeah.
There's only a few good ones out there.
Agreed. Agreed. Very few of these shows out there that are worth spending our time in. So, what has kept you motivated? And one of the things is, keeping yourself busy. But what are some of the other things that have kept you motivated in going through the different stages of your own life?
It's the challenge. Yeah.
The challenge.
Because for me, I get motivated for a business. So, and I always look for opportunities to go and be challenged. So before I used to start my own businesses. I don't start my own businesses anymore
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of getting boring to me. I don't enjoy actually doing business anymore. I
Yeah.
enjoy the challenge. I enjoy solving a problem. Once I solve the problem, I have to sell the business. It becomes almost pain in the butt because
Yeah.
all you have to do is buying and selling businesses. It's just not something that challenges me. That's not what I like. I don't like
Yeah.
buy and sell businesses. I like to solve problems. So
Solving the problems.
that's
Yeah.
why I always look for people who's got like an idea for a business, and I'm trying to figure out how to take that business to the next level. That's my case studies in the book, because I put like there's 3 case studies in the story, so
Mm-hmm.
technically there's 4 stories in there that tells you how I got people from 0 to 8 figures, and in some cases in under a year.
Yeah. Reading the book, I really enjoyed the question you asked of Steve Jobs. And he's like, "Oh, we're a computer company.
Yeah, product company.
We're a product company, right? We're a product company. We don't need to." And then your answer is what we're looking at Apple executing in the past 2 decades.
Right. That's where they make the money. All their profits is in iTunes today. They cannot make money out of their hardware anymore.
Yeah.
iTunes right now charge 30% people from the applications. I mean, that's why they are $1 trillion company. Not
Yes.
because they sell iPhones.
So true. So true. Alex, I'm baffled on your experience, and it's just amazing that you've been able to solve so many problems. Is there a problem that was more exciting than others in your past experience?
I did put the school in the book. I love this school because it was very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Try to figure out how to make something so competitive to start your own trade school. It was my business. So it was not actually helping somebody else. I was actually trying to figure it out on my own, but I was still young, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more ambitious than now. Now I don't want to start any more businesses.
Right.
But back then it was very, very challenging to figure out how to deliver something that nobody ever could. Because people do not go to trade school for education, they go to
Mm-hmm.
trade school to increase their income potential.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 people don't have the money to pay for that trade school. And 7 out of 10 will never get a job
Mm-hmm.
leaving that trade school. So how to fix all those things and still be the most profitable school in the history of trade schools? It was a lot of fun. That's why I use that case study all the time, because it was extremely challenging to do, extremely challenging. And the way I solved those problems by bringing like companies like Coca-Cola and Lancome to outsource to, and creating my headhunting services in it,
Mm-hmm.
and guarantee people jobs at the end of the school. There is no trade school in the world, not a university in the world, guarantees jobs at the end of the school,
Yeah.
and very high paying jobs. So not only that, it cost them zero out of their pocket
Mm-hmm.
to get in. So there's so many moving parts,
Oh yeah.
and still
Activities.
figure out how to be the most profitable per student school in the world. It baffles me why nobody uses it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've told it to everybody. I've told that
So
model to so
so
many
who
trade schools, like, use it, help people. I'm
so
not in
when
the
you
industry anymore.
so you created that school, or you had the idea white papered essentially, was Was it implemented anywhere, or did you sell the school to anybody? Or
I sold that school. No, it was active school for 3 years. The school was active for 3 years. The
nice.
reason we sold the school because that's my problem. Once
You're not solving any more problems.
it's not
You get
challenging,
a handoff to somebody who's gonna run the engine
yeah,
now. Go. So it's almost like you're the mechanic that builds this beautiful, powerful car, and once you're done with it, like, okay, here's the race car driver, go
right.
drive it.
Yeah, I look at myself as an architect.
Right, the architect. Yeah,
Right. I create like a blueprint and I'm making adjustments as we go. It doesn't mean the first time I write it's going to be perfect. It's like
right.
architect might take you a long time to figure it out because some businesses took me a lot longer.
Yeah.
Some businesses, my quickest one, we got to 8 figures in 9 months. So
Yeah.
that's the quickest way we generate income in my life.
Wow.
And I have another cases that we got to 8 figures. It took me 6 years to get there. There was a lot more work. I mean, we got to 7 figures pretty fast.
Yeah.
But to get to the next level was very hard for us. It took me a long time to make an adjustments and figure it out. And but that's something that I enjoy. That's the whole thing. I want to see
No.
those problems. If it's too easy, I get like, okay, once it's done, I need to move forward, look for something else.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, we've been having some really deep conversations. I really like the neuroplasticity brain language because when you change that chemistry, you don't need external medicine either
No,
because your brain.
the school. So one of the things that I created in the school that's called C here. So the way you learn and the way you actually have ability to understand what you learned, because the problem in most schools, people get out of the school without actually knowing or understanding the subject.
Yeah.
They might know the subject, they don't understand it. And that's why when people hire somebody looking for somebody with experience, it's not necessarily with the education.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, because to create the educational system, which is, I call it CSEE, it's in the book as well, which is sequential, experiential, exponential. So sequential means you have a sequences of experiences and you have to expand on top of them. And that's how you learn, that's how you change your brain chemistry, because it's being expanded. You have to create more and more different connections that you haven't had before.
That makes a lot of sense to me because, and that's how I found myself learning a lot more than actually, I mean, I wasn't able to tell stories 2-3 years ago. But as I experienced them through talking to others and listening to other people's stories, I was able to then mimic that and tell my own stories and started seeing the formula, started seeing the inner workings of a story. And it's definitely put me in a much better place than I was, 3-4 years ago before I started the podcast.
It's experience. Everything it's just kids. Kids that are not born with the ability to walk.
No, they're not. Absolutely not.
It's a lot of perseverance and try and fall before they actually walk. They have to experience to balance themselves and the first steps. And people, we live in a world that people get too lazy. They don't want to learn anything anymore.
Yeah.
It works. It's
It
work.
does.
But some people challenged and some people get dismotivated very, very fast.
Alex, thank you so much, man, for sharing your time with us and talking about the book and talking about your journey. And what really fascinates you is these challenges. Well, I challenge you to level up your studio setup when you get a chance. Maybe come closer to the microphone. But again, right, it's not something that's
this is the best in the industry.
Oh my goodness. All right. So it's been a lot of fun talking with you, man. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to take a quick pause, and then when we return, you're going to share amazing tips that you've learned over the experience. I know you don't like calling it them hacks, but 3 amazing tips that listeners here can take away and apply in their lives. I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that'll reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. All right, we're back. We're back. Welcome back, guys. We have been talking with Alex Moses. We've been having some really amazing conversations in the green room. We had some really cool chats about the state of the world and how you cannot do anything alone. If you think that you stand up on your own feet and run your business, think again. There's somebody else behind the scenes that's
Or rather,
that's the brains behind, whatever you're running at. And we learn about Elon Musk, we learn about Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. They work together, Paul Allen and Bill Gates. Teamwork. There's a saying where one person is just one, but 2 people are actually equal to 11 people, because 1 and 1 makes 11. So Alex, let's continue the conversation. And you were mentioning something about the power of partnership, the power of people, and how if I don't have an expertise in one area, for example, I am not good at marketing. Sorry, I call myself a marketer, but
neither
I'm
am
not good at
I.
marketing, right?
I'm not
So
good at marketing.
how do we find people that can fill in the blanks for us?
That's a good question. It's a lot of perseverance, a lot of work. Finding people, you have to first, they might be around you already. You just identify the right people. That's challenging. And the only way that I know how is to understand their personalities. So I just go and give them like a test, understanding their personality, understanding their identity, how they behave, their energy. Those 4 things are extremely important to understand a human being. It's very complex. That's what my expertise. It's not where my talent is, but that's where my expertise is understanding people. So the people like Steve Jobs and everybody else that I work with at a high level, that I don't want to work at a high level with people anymore. It's not as fun as people think. And those people actually don't pay a lot of money. They pay less than anybody else.
To try
You
to
can make
save
a
a
lot
penny.
more money with the people who struggling, trying to make a first dollar than with the richest people in the world, believe it or not.
Amazing.
But understanding people is extremely important part. So once you understand them, you understand where they fit in the model that you're trying to build, or what do you want to do. If I'm trying to help somebody, I want to understand what their skills, natural skills, not learned. Because learned, you never know how good they're going to get at it. But natural, something they're born with, I know they're going to be good at it. And not only they're going to be good at it, they're going to feel good about doing it because it's natural to them. It's not learned. So that's probably would be number 1 tip that I would recommend everybody, just to learn yourself as much as you can. If you want to contact me, I can even do it for you. I don't charge money.
Nice.
Because this is something that everybody have to know. Unfortunately, there's nothing online. You can take a personality test. That's about it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you a full picture.
Yeah, you could take personality tests, but somebody still has to interpret what you just took, right?
Yeah, that's only personality. But yeah, your behavior is not your personality. Your
Right,
identity
it's
is
not.
completely different from your personality,
Yeah.
because your behavior and your identity is something you're born with, and your personality is something you acquired.
Yeah.
So that's three of those things that are completely different. And then you have the energy on top of it,
Yeah.
because based on your energy, you're going to be a completely different person. If you have a good energy, if you woke up and you feel great, you get your behavior is going to be completely different, even if you didn't get any sleep.
Yeah.
And you're groggy and tired, and you're going to be reactive to everybody. You're the same person. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
It's just the energy that changed.
Wow. That's really powerful. So, quickly share, not quickly, take your time and sharing 3 hacks to take away for the audience so they can implement in their lives. And one you already gave, know thyself, right?
Yeah,
So you
I
already gave us
believe
that.
that's the most important. If you don't know yourself, you're never going to find the way to be happy.
Yeah.
In order for these, I believe the secret to your happiness is to understand yourself. And that's kind of a hobby of mine. That's not something I make money with, but
Yeah.
that's something extremely important. And number two is the power of others. Nobody can build anything on their own.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah, the Amazon has 1 million employees. They didn't become Bezos by himself, would not be able to deliver 1 billion packages. You need to have 1 million people team in order to become a company like Amazon, or you need to have 200,000 employees in order to be the company like an Apple. So power of others is extremely important. Don't try to rely on yourself only. Always be open to bring new people to work with. Like even on my side projects, wherever I do, I have like 2 people that I work with. They're not business related, like
Yeah.
my own thing. Even like writing these books, I need to have somebody who designed I need somebody who copyrighted.
Yeah.
I need somebody who proofread what I write and correct it, because English is not my first or second or third language by now. I already lost count which language it is. But somebody has to do it. Even to
Yeah.
do something simple as this, you're going to need the help of other people. If you
Yeah.
need to build a business, you're going to need a lot of different people to help you. Like marketing, for example, you might need help with the marketing. I'm not a marketing expert. I'm not an advertising expert. I'm like to solve business problems. I want to
Yeah.
see the path,
Yeah.
honestly know what we need to do and how to build that path. And the third one, what would be the most important, the third one that I would recommend? Must have in life. The Mother Teresa story. Let me tell you Mother Teresa's story.
Let's hear it.
Out of all the places in the world, she actually was here in Phoenix, and one of the local billionaires came to her and offered her any amount of money for anything she needs, like donation or build a new monastery. And she's
Yeah.
got a new project that needs money. So he asked her if there's anything on this planet that he can help her with. He's got
Yeah.
the access to whatever she needs. And when she looked in his eyes and told him, go home and love your family. So that would be the most important thing in the world. Love your family.
Love your family. That's right, because with that family, we are literally alone and nobody. I love that. I love that because everything that I do and that I've been doing is because of my family. To be able to provide for them, to be able to support them in their journeys. Man, that's the powerful ones. Number one, know yourself. Number two, the power of other people. And number three, go back and love your family because they are your backbone. a really cool thing that happened over the past few years when I started a podcast. I would post my, podcast episode and I would tell my wife, like, well, you didn't like my post. She's like, I don't need to like it. I'm here for all of you, not just that one thing. I'm here physically. I'm like, you're right. And it took me a while to get over that fact and understand that these conversations are not for her. These conversations are for me to understand who I am, to grow, to become a better person, and basically doing practice in how to become a much more rounder person. Alex, thank you so much, man. This was a ton of fun. Going to jump into some quick questions that I like to ask my guests. Number one, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
My job is my hobby. I love what I do. This is my hobby. I don't have hobbies. I mean, I don't do anything else besides work because I'm like a workaholic by nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually, I don't work to work. I do work because this is something that challenges me. This is some what I like to do. This is what
Yeah.
keeps me going. It keeps me in the shape that I am through all the things that I've gone through. Because I had so many opportunities not to be here by now. I think the only reason I'm here because there's still people out there who need me. And the moment they stop needing me,
Yeah.
I'll be gone.
Yeah. Man, that's deep, man. What did you want to be when you were a child? And we've heard earlier that you've been in numerous countries.
I think I wanted exactly who I am. I wanted to become somebody who can help people and be a businessman, an entrepreneur, but in a spiritual way.
Yeah.
Because spirituality was a big part of my life always. And I grew up in a communist country, so which spirituality was pretty much forbidden.
Spirituality was forbidden?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was a communist country. So in a communist country, there is no religion of any kind. And the government is your god. Yeah, it was, and yet I still would, follow different religions and try to learn different religions and try to understand myself better through religions. Even the anagram test that you took, you probably don't know, but it came from the sacred organization that I was part of, which is actually in the book, The Fourth Way.
Yeah.
So the anagram actually belongs to Fourth Way. And the person who wrote it, the original anagram with the 9 personalities, is actually the founder of Fourth Way.
Wow.
So it's, most people don't know. I mean, I know a lot of history. Yeah, I like to learn.
No, I love that, and it makes sense because those are some really deep conversations on who you are, what your personality is based on the test that you took. Now, the test that I took was 2019. So so here's a question for you, right? Do we change over time, or does our personality change over time, so that you would shift from one Enneagram to a different number?
Yes, 100%. Not only over time, it can change by the end of the day.
Holy smokes. So
because your personality, like you, for example, right? I'll give you a very good example so you can understand.
Yeah.
Your personality is 7, right? It gives you very friendly, very positive person. By the end of the day, when you're tired, you can become very groggy and negative person. So
hey, I'm not going to say you're right, but there might be some truth in that.
You might be a completely different person in the morning and the evening. Some people are morning people, like me, for example, and some people are like evening people. That's not me. I'm like a morning person. I'm up like at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm working at 5 at 6. I'm already working. It's not because I'm crazy, because that's what I like. This is my peak time. But if you're gonna call me at 10 o'clock in the evening,
you can find somebody else.
I'll be like, the personality of a wallpaper. I'm gonna be like a zombie walking around. I won't be able to function at all or think at all.
Well, that explains a lot because my wife always tells me, where's that guy who is talking to all the people on the podcast? And how do I get this guy who doesn't?
I can teach you a few tricks how to do
All
that,
right,
how to keep
perfect.
your, yeah, because it's the energy. Once you manage your energy properly, you can function for a lot longer and be in the better presence of
Yeah,
yourself for a lot longer. And being actually aware, because level of your awareness is extremely important as well.
yeah. Man, I love it. All right, next question is around your favorite movie or TV show.
Ah, I have two most favorite TV shows.
Oh, nice.
That should be almost obvious. One is Lie to Me, and the other one is Perception.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Lied to me in
they're
perception.
both about human mind and and behavior.
Yeah.
Lie to Me is how to read people's faces. You read when the people lie to you because in the story of the show, they tell you the people lie 3 times in a 5-minute conversation. And that's people who do not normally lie. It's like an average people,
That's insane.
not the people who's like, liars.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that's the
Okay.
show is about reading these people
Reading the people. So,
to know whether they lie or not, because you lie a lot, whether you think or not. But I can tell you something very interesting you might like. There's one person that you lie to more than anybody you ever heard ever lie to you. You know who that person is?
who is it? Is it me?
It's you.
I lie to myself more than anybody else. Amen.
Nobody will ever lie to you as much as you lie to yourself.
Oh my God. Stop lying to myself, Junaid. Come on. This is embarrassing. Man. All right. Let's let's uh let's go to the next question. I like this part, and I'm guessing reading through your book I can stop lying to myself more, be more truthful to myself, to know who I am better.
Yeah, that's the whole idea is for you to see where you fit in life. The problem, you lie to yourself because you want to do something that you're not comfortable doing or something you don't want to do. You keep trying to, lie to yourself that you want to do it and you don't.
And that's where you need other people
Yeah.
and
That's
their
why you need the
expertise.
team. That's why you need a wife. You cannot have a child without a woman.
No, you can't.
You need to have a team in the
You need a
family. You
team
need
and
to have,
family.
in order for you to have a family, it's a team. You have a
Yeah.
wife and you have a kid. All of a sudden, now you have a team.
Amen. Our next question: what movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
That's a good one. What movie would I choose if I had to play in it? Goodwill Hunting,
Oh yeah,
and I would play the Robin Williams
the Robin
role.
Williams role. I like that he's one of my favorite actors. I mean, it was such a demise. To sad to hear how he passed away, but that's a really good movie and a good character. Nice.
Yeah, I like the Goodwill Hunting, and I really relate to Robin Williams' part as a psychiatrist in it, psychologist, because that's what I see myself.
Yeah,
The only difference is I apply it more to a business instead of a people.
instead of people.
I wanted to apply to people. I just don't have that skill set. That's why I haven't played the role because I cannot do this in real life.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. Who is your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero. I have a superheroes. I'm extremely like I'm too business person. There's no real superheroes in my world. But a person that I respected the most, John Z. Rockefeller, I would call him a superhero.
Yeah, and if you look at it from that perspective, there's a few superheroes that fall in that line.
Yeah. John D. Rockefeller. Most people don't know the history. I don't know if you know the history that well about John D. Rockefeller.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first person in the history of the world who created the companies, businesses, where the people were actually stockholders of the
Interesting.
businesses he started.
Wow.
Yeah. So most of the companies he worked with, the people actually had stocks in that companies. So every single employee was actually an investor in the company.
Wow.
Most people, it's kind of one of those histories people do not know. Plus, the John D. Rockefeller was teaching the Sunday school for his whole life. He never skipped a
Yeah.
single Sunday going to church and teaching the Sunday school.
That's amazing.
He was a very religious guy. He never drank a drop of alcohol. Very spiritual, and he was actually a very good person. Most people always like to pick on the rich and famous,
The
but he
rich and
was
famous
actually a
part, but
very good human being.
he had his priority in the right place.
They're all were right. They were all for the people.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did a lot of donations. He helped a lot of different people, but the government would pick on him a lot because they don't like monopoly. But it was not monopoly because all those businesses actually belonged to the employees.
Mm-hmm. That's something. Wow. I'm gonna have to dig in more on John D. Rockefeller. Last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
I didn't hear it. Can you repeat it,
If
please?
you yourself would be a board game, what would it be?
If I myself would be a king,
A board game.
if I would be a board game,
Yeah.
what board game would I be? Definitely a chess.
Chess.
Yes, definitely.
Amen. Well, thank you so much again, Alex, for the opportunity to come on here and chat with us here on Hacks and Hobbies. We wish you the very best luck in all the amazing things that you're doing this year and for the years to come. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right. Thank you guys for listening in. We had an awesome conversation with Alex Moses. Tune in to the next episode or drop a message to Alex. We're going to have the link to his book and other places that you can connect with Alex in the show notes. So we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode on Hacks and Hobbies. We absolutely appreciate your contribution. You can find additional notes on hacksandhobbies.com. Please share the podcast with your friends and tell them what you learned about our guest today.